If you're an agency owner who avoids QuickBooks like a group text from a needy client, you know what I'm talking about. AskQuick.ai is going to be your new best friend. Now, this is the AI CFO that makes sense of your numbers without spreadsheets, dashboards, or the financial therapy that I remember going through. All you have to do is just sync, ask, and get answers like, where's my profit going? Who are my most profitable clients? If I raise my prices, what's going to happen? And it gives you advice. Try it for free. Go to askquick.ai. That's askquick.ai.
Hey, Greg, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jason. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you on. Tell us who you are, what you do.
I'm Greg Peters. I'm the founder of two agencies, 4B Marketing and Hybrid Marketing here in Denver, Colorado. 4B is focused on technology, energy, and government sectors, and Hybrid is focused on more of the regulated market space.
Okay. Why two agencies? Why not just one?
If you want the honest truth, the 4B side tends to be more conservative, whereas the Hybrid side is focused on cannabis. And there's still stigma out there in the marketplace that lends itself to keeping it pretty separate.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't be able to get government contracts, I think.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I was just curious because a lot of people will say, well, I do this, this, and this. And then I'm like, when is it the right time to create different brands? And you just perfectly put about the cannabis part. And you do live in Denver, so.
Yeah, you have to participate in those emerging economies, right?
That's right. A lot of research goes into all of that. How did you get into the agency space? Accidental or planned?
Always accidental, right? That's the name of the game here. So, my background is in technology, and I was in technology sales, working for some larger companies. I kind of got sick of the publicly traded large organization kind of frameworks. And I took a little foray to solar energy for a while and helped manage an acquisition here in Colorado for a company in California. And I went back to my home in technology, and they got acquired by a publicly traded company and said, okay, I'm kidding myself. I need to go out on my own. I have a passion for helping people in business. I need to go do essentially what was partner practice optimization for myself. And this is after kind of a long road of entrepreneurial endeavors, which one was in automotive. I owned a superfood, all organic smoothie truck and a contracts business that was pretty boring. So I kind of got into it. We started life as a go-to-market consulting company for the tech space, specifically telecom. And we would work with those partners to grow their revenues above theater average. I was then approached, and let me back up a little bit, is this company was two people in 2016. So myself and Aaron Rosenbluth, who is my content director, who was my entire marketing department at the time. We were approached by some very close friends. So who is now my VP of creative and my director of marketing, to tell us that, hey, you guys should blow out an agency. Like, what you're doing is very agency-esque, and you should grow this part of the business, of the practice. And I said, you know what? I'm getting pretty taxed on all these consulting engagements because it's just me. And I think that sounds like a great idea. So coincidentally, the stars align just like they can. And all of a sudden, a lot of web development came in the door, then brand development. And then we needed ways to drive revenue off those brands at the websites and things like that, and started becoming a HubSpot partner and really embracing all the inbound methodologies, and then extending that into programmatic and other platforms of advertising.
What was the biggest surprise, and how long did it take you to get over the million mark when you were starting the agency?
So we had been plunking along. I think our first full year, we did about 600K. Second year, we hit $1 million our second year. So it was pretty rapid, pretty quick. And it was almost like letting go of the reins. Like, hey, I know this isn't a comfortable spot for you, Greg. However, you have the best creative team and marketing team coming to join you. And so, that's been a philosophy that we've always had, is less command and control, just put the right people in the seats and let them do their best work. And that really accelerated us forward quickly.
Most people I know when I'm talking to, a lot of people on the show or, in our mastermind, it takes them a while to figure out to let go of the reins and to give control to other people. What allowed you to do it so quick?
It was an uncomfortable philosophy that I borrowed from Richard Branson in The Virgin Way. And so I had read his book years previously and basically said, hey, if I ever have a company, I'll put people first, the people will put the client first, just empower and enable and everything like that. It's a scaling strategy. And plus, I am a non-technical founder, so I can apply my methodologies and organizational and kind of revenue operations to really any sort of business out there. What I do not have is the depth of expertise that my team carries with them. And so having them almost run their own business units inside the company has really allowed us to scale very quickly.
How quickly did you start ramping up? Obviously you grew over the million in the second year, but for the next couple of years, did you have that same growth or did it kind of slow up a little bit?
We had double-digit growth from the beginning. The turning point, the pivot point, the big situation was the pandemic. So the pandemic, where things were slow in other sectors and things like that, we were busier than we'd ever been before. And that literally came from the cannabis space. So we had been marketing and
everybody's smoking weed.
Yeah, everybody's collecting a check, staying home, smoking weed at home, and the clients and prospects were having their best days, weeks, months, years ever. And they started to, competition started to heat up, and they needed marketing to differentiate themselves with local and near me searches and advertising to stay top of mind with all of the influx of players into whatever national space we're talking about, whether it's Colorado or Michigan or California, Washington, etc.
Hi there, agency owners. Let me ask you, are you ready to scale your agency without increasing your overhead costs? If yes, then you need to know about E2M Solutions. Now, E2M is the #1 most reliable white label partner for agencies. They specialize in web design, WordPress development, e-commerce, SEO, and content writing. They basically do all the heavy lifting, which frees you up to focus on growing your agency. Now, here's the best part. E2M is just not another vendor. With over 10 years of experience, their team of over 300 experts has a track record of delivering for more than 300 agencies. They're your strategic partner. They deliver on time every time, so you can focus on what you do best. Now, E2M's mission is simple: to help 500 agencies increase their revenue and profit margins with white label services that actually work. And to help you get started, they're offering a special deal, 10% off for the first 3 months, but act fast because it's only a limited time offer. So head over to e2msolutions.com/smartagency to check out their transparent and their flexible pricing. Trust me, if you're ready to grow without burning out, E2M is the partner you've been looking for. That's e2msolutions.com/smartagency. Go check them out and tell them Jason Swank sent you.
What's been a surprise over the past couple of years that's kind of caught you off guard?
It's always validation of frameworks and philosophies. Like, do we have the right business development process? Are we staying current on trends? And I always say the hardest thing that I've ever done is just living this life of agency challenge. It is, right? It's a lot of challenge. It's a lot of reward. And in my case, I get to work with some of the best people that I love every day, right? And I would say it is, for us, it was really, how do I say, reversing on a employee framework or an org chart that I thought would work. 100% confident, had seen it in other businesses. And what it did was actually create mild confusion with clients, as well as a little bit of tension inside the agency with execution individuals. And that kind of broke my heart because I was like, hey, if you take the toxicity out of the organization, you can use that energy for productivity and you're a lot happier. So I think the biggest lesson learned was, hey, check yourself. I am a first time agency owner. This is the first agency I've ever worked at, is the one that we've built together. And just making sure that you're having a lot of conversations out there of structure.
Yeah, I always find that, most of us have never worked for a bigger agency. We've worked for bigger companies, like my past, I worked for Arthur Anderson for 6 months and, kind of took away a lot of the things that I didn't like. Like I learned a lot of things that I'd never wanted to do. And then it's just about building the plane on the runway. You're taking off. You got no wings yet, but put the left wing on, put the right wing on, and just trying to figure it out versus trying to make it perfect. And if you can put the right people, on the plane building it that you trust, well, it can get up in the air. But then how long does it stay there?
That's the challenge, right? Is it once something all of a sudden bubbles to as the surface as needing addressed or broken or however you say it or needed, you fix that and then all of a sudden something else. All of a sudden there's dysfunction in a different part of the organization or what have you.
Yeah, I guess I've never really kind of asked this on the podcast because how do you stay positive running an agency?
That's a great question. I think a lot of it has to do with nature. I've always been more on the optimistic side of life. And probably when I say more of, I mean extremely on the optimistic side of life, that it'll work. And along with a support system of people that believe in you. So not only in internal, at the agency, but my wife is a really good example where, when I was starting this business out, it gets really frustrating and a little bit scary that you are draining your bank account to get this dream off the ground. And she's like, it'll be okay. And I would tell her, I was like, how do you know? You don't have all the little details and pieces. She's like, nah, it'll be okay. So I think it's pure grit. You know what I mean? The power to move forward, knowing that there's an opportunity. You started this business because of several gaps in the marketplace. You just have to figure out if you have to kind of tailor what you've built as you go on down the road to really make sure that it's solving a problem or creating an opportunity for somebody.
Yeah, I always look at it as you got to look at going into the agency space or growing in the agency space is what's the problem that you solve and who do you want to solve it for? And how fast does it take? And I also even look at it too of going, who are the perfect clients that actually have this problem, know they have the problem and want to fix it? Because I see too many agencies that are going after, I want to go after these perfect clients, but they don't want help or they don't know they need help yet. And I'm like, well, that's kind of why you're stuck, in this kind of roller coaster ride that so many of us, get in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a key point too, is like Jason, you hit it on the head, is ask for help, to never stop learning. And I love acquiring knowledge from multiple places, whether it be, I'm a voracious reader of all sorts of business minds as well as just recreationally. And then just the network, your network truly is your net worth. And the more you can talk to people, and especially approaching it like we do, our vision for the agency is be the leaders in creating a positive impact every day, whether that is on the financial business drivers, revenue, risk, cost, cash flow, asset utilization, or helping somebody find a job, helping somebody connect to a resource that's just going to help them. You put a lot of good stuff out into the universe without expectation, you'll get it back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I look at some of our most successful agency owner members, even the ones in there now, right? They're always learning. There's members in there that are well over the 20 million mark. And they're the most humble people and they want to learn from everybody versus what we see on the Instagram life of, a 15-year-old punk leasing a Ferrari going, I got everything figured out, buy my course. Right? I'm like, it's just the total opposite. It's just like, that's when I started having a little bit of success. It was always just, I'm always just curious. I think that was that's one of the traits of our team, of our membership that we have, is they're just curious. And they'll be like, what would happen if I do this? And they'll be like, oh, that blew up. That was not good.
Oh.
Hurt my finger. Oven's hot.
Jason, that is I've said that so many times in here, is just natural curiosity is the biggest asset you could have. You just want to know more about the business, about life, about the next step, other worlds and things like that. It is it's an asset to have for sure.
Well, this has all been a lot of fun, Greg. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
I would say, I think you covered it, Jason. This was a great opportunity. I appreciate your background, and I know we have some similarities of being in the great state of Colorado and raising boys and things like that. But no, I think you hit it all. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, Greg, thanks so much for coming on the show. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it out with a friend. And if you want to constantly keep learning, you're curious, you don't want to do it all by yourself, we put together an amazing community of just agency owners that are humble, transparent, they're growing fast. And if you'd like to do it with us, reach out, go to agencymastery.io. And until next time, have a swank day.